It's hard to believe that I've been coming to Six Flags Magic Mountain for 20 years now, first as a coaster enthusiast, and then for 8 years as an employee, back to being a coaster enthusiast, and now even being on their media list. Over the years, I've seen lots of things come and go. Some parts of the park are completely unrecognizable. Despite so many things being completely wiped off the face of the earth, there are some nods to the past still standing if you know where to look. Today, I'm going to look at 13 historical Easter eggs that you can still find at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Number 13. The Magic Pagoda Building on Samurai Summit. From 1975 to 1984, there was a walkthrough attraction at the top of Samurai Summit that was Chinese themed and would put its guests through special effects in each room. After it closed, there was a snack shop on the upper level of the building which explained why there are still tables in the area that's closed off to the public. And these boards make it hard to see the top of the Magic Pagoda Building. But if you come during Fright Fest, check out Willoughby's Haunted Mansion. You can walk through the Magic Pagoda once again, this time as a maze with a custom-made facade. Number 12. Guest Relations used to be a bank. When the park opened in 1971, this building was the Security Pacific National Bank. It was later repurposed as a camera shop and then turned into Guest Relations. But there are still signs that this building used to be a bank, mainly this drop box that is hidden by the bushes and this box on the side of the building that says Bank Burglar Alarm. After all these years, this is still there with that text holding strong. Number 11. The Flashback Entrance Building. It's not common for a park to close off a whole section of the park to guests. That's exactly what Magic Mountain did several years ago right in the front of the park. I remember when you could exit the Looney Tunes store, hang a right, and then walk down a hill to get to Flashback, the park's intimate space diver from 1992 to 2003. This was back when the building that currently houses the Buffalo Wings, Freestyle Machine, and Go Fresh Cafe was an arcade, and there was a Metro Monorail station right by the Flashback entrance. Once Flashback closed down for good and went into standing but not operating mode in 2003, there was no reason for anyone to cut through that area. When the whole area was redone in 2012 and 2013 to prepare for Full Throttle's opening, the park decided to wall off the pass-through that would take you past Flashback's entrance. However, this park uses the building by Flashback as a maze and they open up the gates. Every year I walk past there just to get a glimpse of Magic Mountain's history, and a sight that is very rare these days. Number 10. The Cyclone Trains as seen from Scream Station. Cyclone was a wooden coaster built by the Din Corporation that operated from 1991 to 2006. It had a bad reputation for being an extremely rough ride, and it did crack my list for top 20 worst coasters ever built. I love wooden coasters, so I'd still ride it, but it was unbearably rough. One of the reasons for this were those heavy fiberglass trains that it used that were built by B&M, and thankfully it was the only instance where B&M designed trains for a wooden coaster. Even after Cyclone's demise, these trains were used to run Colossus backwards during Fright Fest, mainly thanks to their high seatbacks being ideal for supporting the riders' heads as they fell backwards. After the 2014 season, Colossus was transformed into Twisted Colossus and they no longer needed the old Cyclone trains. But more than 5 years later, these trains can still be sitting in a backstage area and you can easily see them from Scream Station. Number 9. The old X color scheme on the transfer track. X was constructed in 2001 with a wild color scheme, featuring pink track, yellow rails, and yellow supports. When the park had to shut the ride down for a major renovation during the 2007 season, which included switching out the old trains for new lighter ones, they also gave the ride a completely new color scheme, with dark red track and black supports. A much more ominous look and a much more fitting look to this extreme fourth dimension coaster. However, the park did not feel the need to paint the transfer track that the extra trains sit on. These still don the pink track and the yellow rails and can be seen from the exit ramp on the right side of the station, or the side that has the ramp leading up to the station instead of the stairs. Number 8. The Metro Monorail track behind the trees. One thing that Magic Mountain is severely lacking these days is a good transportation ride. Sure, they have the helpful Honda Express taking you up and down the mountain, but they had several others throughout the years that are now defunct. The one that was the most widespread through the park was probably the Metro Monorail. This would run from the front of the park, cut behind Buccaneer and Swashbuckler, behind the Carousel Grill, and then over into the movie district before heading up into Samurai Summit, and back to the front of the park. It's been almost 20 years since this was in operation, but it was still standing but not operating less than 10 years ago until it was finally taken out. Well, almost. There are still a couple pieces of the Metro that still remain. The two I know about can be seen from Swashbuckler, the park swings, and behind Johnny Rockets. These are pretty well hidden and are hard to see behind the trees, but they're still there after all these years. The track piece in this video can be seen clearly from the Johnny Rockets seating area. Number 7. The Samurai Summit Metro Station. Speaking of the Metro, we're not quite done with it yet. This monorail had 3 places where you could get on or off. The station in the front of the park was located between the Wings Place and the smoking area behind the Full Throttle bar. The station in the back of the park was located where Crazanity stands today, and that station was still there shortly before being demolished to make way for Crazanity. The third station was built into a tunnel on the hill heading up to Samurai Summit, and you would actually walk into the tunnel to get on the Metro. You may recognize the tunnel today as the one that Full Throttle uses for its second and third launches. Number 6. Deja Vu's Q Line. Deja Vu was a Vekoma giant inverted boomerang that operated in the very back corner of the park next to its wooden coaster neighbors. First Cyclone from 2001 to 2006, and then Apocalypse from 2009 to 2011. Even though Deja Vu packed up and moved to Six Flags New England, its Q line remains and can be seen from Apocalypse's lift hill. You can also see bits and pieces of it, including the blue and green light poles, the black oval that used to don the Deja Vu entrance sign, and some of the blue awning that served as the Q line. The Q is also used for a Fright Fest maze, so if you want a piece of history, even if you're not into these mazes, be sure to check this one out. Number 5. Colossus's second station. From 1978 to 2014, Colossus was a racing wooden coaster with 2 separate stations. When I would go to the park, it always seemed that the left station was the one that was used the most because, let's face it, the park hardly ever ran both sides. It really didn't need to in the last few years of the coaster's life because it just wasn't that popular. But when they made the decision to give Colossus the RMC treatment, they decided to make it a Mobius loop coaster, meaning it would only use one station for both tracks. They went with the right station and relegated the left station to obscurity. It's not hard to get a look into the abandoned left station. When you slam into the final brakes on the green track of Twisted Colossus, take a look to your right and see what's left of that station. You could also see it from this little walkway near the extended line of Twisted Colossus, or down by Scream. It looks like now it's being used as an employee back area. I spent a lot of my younger years in this station, riding one of my favorite coasters, Colossus. Number 4. The Eagles Flight Station on Samurai Summit. This one is not hidden at all. You don't need to be in a special place to see it, but not many people give it a second thought when they walk past it. When you make the trip from Ninja to Superman, there's a building off to your left that's unused for most of the year until Fright Fest when it's used as a maze. If you've been in the Samurai Summit bathrooms at the top of the steep twisted footpath, you can see this building from the other side. This was the highest point and the centerpiece of Eagle's Flight, the ski lift ride that opened with the park in 1971 and closed after it was damaged by the 1994 Northridge earthquake. From this station, you could hitch a ride down to one of 2 places. The first was over by where Goliath now stands, and the other one was near the current location of Riddler's Revenge. Those stations are long gone, but the main station on top of the hill is still there, and it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere anytime soon. Number 3. Logjammer Station. Here's another relic just hiding in plain sight. Logjammer operated from 1971 to 2011 and was removed to make way for Full Throttle. The queue line and station were kept around and dressed up for the Full Throttle theme, and it looks like the inside of the queue is being used by the park for storage. I've even seen raccoons come in and out of the queue line. This can be found right across from the Full Throttle bar, and while you're riding Full Throttle, the final turn into the station comes within feet of the Logjammer station. It's hard to imagine that plot of land having a lake these days, but it was there for 40 years, and we still have the queue house and station to remember it by. Number 2. The Dragon's Upper Station. Have you ever walked into Ninja Station and wonder why it looks like there's a turntable on the ground beneath your feet? That's because Ninja Station wasn't always Ninja Station. From 1974 to 1981, Magic Mountain had yet another transportation ride to get people from the top of the mountain to the bottom and vice versa, and this was called the Dragon. Located on the opposite side of the mountain from the now helpful Honda Express. It stopped running in 1981, but was standing but not operating until Ninja's construction for the 1988 season. The ride was finally torn out, but the station was repurposed for the new aero-suspended coaster. The most visible evidence that it was used for another purpose once upon a time is that turntable on the floor of the queue. Number 1. The Dragon's Lower Station. Here's another relic that's not hard to see, but it's easy to ignore. The aforementioned dragon would drop off and pick up guests at the top of the hill in what is now Ninja Station, and they would do the same at the bottom of the hill in a gazebo-looking station that's still standing today. There are even pieces of the track that are still visible from Ninja's lift hill if you look to your left. The gazebo is located right behind Soda Shack and is fully intact. It's really a shame that the Dragon did not make it as a transportation ride, since the walk up the hill from Gold Rusher to Superman is absolutely savage, and the Dragon mitigated the pain of getting up and down that hill. So that's a wrap for all of the historical Easter eggs that you can still find around Magic Mountain. This was all done based off my memory, so I may have left something out. But I also picked the brain of America's Coaster Network, so check out the link to his Instagram below. And no, I am not counting the Green Lantern area of the park as a historical relic just yet, though if it's still there in 5 years, maybe we can talk about it. Let me know if there's anything else at the park that you know of that nerds who love coaster history should check out, and if you knew about or noticed any of these items that I talked about today. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.